have to start off with Brad Pitt, and then we have to talk about Gladiator. I feel like those are the dominant headlines for today's episode. Do you want to start out with F1, dude?
All right, F1. That's the most recent news too, by the way. Like, so as you're hearing this, we're recording this Sunday night. This is the most recent thing, and our heaviest reactions will be on this because that's pretty much why I'm jacked up right now. Because I rewatched this trailer right before, just absolutely jacked up. I can't wait for this movie.
So I'm going to give you some info on F1, and then we'll dive into our anticipation levels and what we liked or disliked from the trailer. Not a lot of things to dislike, to be honest, Ricky Flex. So the first trailer drops for Joseph Kosinski's F1 movie that's titled F1. It's starring Brad Pitt, like we mentioned, and Damson Idris, TV star known for playing a character in Snowfall from 2017, and it ended in 2023. Looking to make the transition from TV to the big screen, hitting theaters June 27th, 2025. We are now officially less than a year away from this movie dropping. Top Gun Maverick director Joseph Kosinski on the ones and twos behind the camera. Also, some side notes about this film. 7-time world champion F1 driver Lewis Hamilton is a co-producer on this project. And this film also collected footage at F1 circuits around the world, both this year and last year. In the film, we're going to have Brad Pitt playing an American former driver who returns to F1 alongside a rookie teammate. We assume that's Damson Idris, and their fictional team is called APXGP. So, Ricky Flex, this trailer, main takeaways, right? Main takeaways from this trailer once you saw it on your Twitter/X app.
Brad Pitt looks good. Can we just be honest with each other?
He looks better than good.
I haven't seen him look this good in a while. It's like we have Wolves coming out next to George, and he's gonna be next to George Clooney. That trailer came out. He looks good in that. Here, it's kind of scary how good he looks. And it matches the vibe of F1 because it's rich people, luxury on luxury, like 0.01%. Wait, sorry, 0.01 in the 1% of the world's wealth is like in F1, and Brad Pitt has to look like Brad Pitt, and he does on the screen. And the second thing, this does look like a Joseph Kosinski movie. Like Top Gun Maverick vibes were through the roof here. Like if we should do a social media where we do like side by side stills of Top Gun Maverick stills and this trailer stills, like inside the car, inside the plane, overlooking the track, or Maverick overlooking like the jet hangar track. There's so many like very similar stills in each of the or shots in each of these trailers or movies. And then finally, I'm not a big F1 guy, but a lot of Ford versus Ferrari vibes in this. This feels like it's an elevated dad movie, similar to like kind of like Ford versus Ferrari was, except like when I say that, it's like a lot more action packed. You have actual footage inside, like they actually filmed on sites over the past 12 to 18 months at F1 races. This is going to be a lot more inside the hood or inside the car and behind the scenes. I love that. I got jacked up, absolutely jacked up watching this trailer. So it's end of June 2025. The Batman, Superman, huge summer next year. It's a massive summer, bigger than this summer.
Well, Ricky, not the Batman, because that's 2026 now, if we can recall.
That's a shame.
I know. I didn't mean to bring down the vibes because I am just as jacked as you. I'm more jacked now to discuss it than I was first watching it and when the We Will Rock You dropped. A little cliche for like a song in a movie trailer, but
that's where the dad vibes were.
But like to me, this is not really dad vibes. To me, this is like rock star shit. This is a rock star sport with a rock star actor. It feels so perfect to me. I know he's 60 years old, but Brad Pitt passes for a late 30s or early 40-year-old. And Ricky, I did do some research. The oldest driver in F1 right now was born in 1981. So he is in early 40s. Brad Pitt can pass for early 40s, especially if he is a driver coming out of retirement to join this team and basically be a mentor to this Damson Idris character. I am buying that, Ricky. But I understand it's like Brad Pitt is like something actors that dads grew up with, and at the same time it has like I guess the same machinations or like the same look of like or the same feel of a Ford versus Ferrari on the track. But to me, this is just all rock star, baby.
But like also the beginning of the trailer when he's talking to Carrie Condon, shout out Carrie Condon, TDI favorite.
Finally, she's doing something. Finally.
Good, and this looks like a cool part for her. Small but good. But that also had like Moneyball vibes.
Oh yeah, Ricky. I wrote down in my notes. I said when he makes that line where it's like we have to be ready for combat. I'm like, this is like Billy Bean talking to right everybody else in the room in the front office for the A's.
Exactly.
And I was also thinking if Brad Pitt has a smash with this movie, it seems like he could be in one of those like upper tier sports movie actors. You know how I know we're going to talk about Horizon today with Kevin Costner. It's Moneyball is such like a prestige sports movie, and then F1 is such a fast rising sport in terms of popularity. You see what F1 Drive to Survive did for the sport. If this movie hits and they show you the ins like the front office wise of the sport, but also how it works on the track, and you have footage from actual races, this sport is going to skyrocket in popularity. This movie has a $200 million budget, and people have been really concerned about like the, I guess, overspending for this movie. After watching this trailer, I think people were kind of relieved and they said, like, yeah, this looks legit as hell. This is Top Gun Maverick on a racetrack.
Dude, like Brad Pitt, if this hits, like he will be up there. Like we will have for this movie, we'll probably have to do this. Like best like performances by like best actors or best sports actors or
Yeah, sports movie actors.
sports movie actors. There's a phrase there that we'll have to kind of revise a little bit. But you have Costner, you have Arnold, Sly, Carl Weathers, like you have frickin' Brad Pitt. Like he would have to be added to the repertoire.
Kevin Costner is number one, and he just is the most natural looking athlete. It's like Brad
He's a
Pitt.
switch hitter.
But the thing is, like Brad Pitt, he'll go down as one of the greatest sports movie actors, but it will be never really like he'll be driving a car in this movie where it's like, and it's just gonna be very practical. But like Billy Bean, he's not like actually swinging a bat. He's not actually performing the sport. I think there's very few. Maybe Denzel, he got game. Then he did Remember the Titans. I think he's up there for best sports movie actors. And
Yeah.
he's like in the same category as like Brad Pitt, where he'll do those movies, but he's not known as like a sports movie actor. Like Kevin Costner is the poster child for like sports movie actors.
He's
you know
done
what I mean?
baseball, golf. Well, he's done 3 baseball movies, right?
McFarland USA is like the coach of the running track, the cross country, whatever that was.
Yeah.
I never saw it. He did The Guardian too with Ashton Kutcher, like which is sort of like a sports movie, not really, but kind of has that vibe. But Brad Pitt also right at the end of this where it says Brad Pitt in F1. You're like Damson Idris is like a fast rising star, but this is the Brad Pitt show, dude. It's like having his name next to a movie that's titled after the sport. It's like this movie is taking on the burden of being like, we are the F1 movie and we are going to take this to the next level. You have Lewis Hamilton as a producer on this movie. I'm jacked for it, Ricky.
Like this movie being an F1 has to have style and that rock star like vibe that you're talking about, but it also has to connect to like the audience that it's going to see because yes, there's a lot of international, worldwide F1 fans clearly, and because of Drive to Survive, now having 3 events in the U.S., Miami, Texas, and Vegas, I want to say, now it's rising in America, but box office domestically is where you're going to make your money, and they need to get the core sports fan like movie audience to the theater to see something that they probably aren't a fan of. How do you do that? You add "We Will Rock You." You'll add that Moneyball in the like in the beginning. We talked about the Top Gun Maverick parallels. You have to have these parallels or like things that we could just like say, oh, that's Ford versus Ferrari. I love that movie. Oh, I'm gonna love this. Brad Pitt. This is firing all cylinders. It's only a minute and a half, and we haven't even talked about, by the way, Javier Bardem's in this movie.
Yes, Javier Bardem looking fly as shit, looking with the slick back hair and the clear glasses. He feels like he comes from like old European money and he owns like one of these F1 teams. I think he rocks the look so well. Good to see Carrie Condon in here. But I think other than Brad Pitt, the biggest takeaway for me is Joe Kosinski. And this guy coming off Top Gun Maverick, and we know he did Spiderhead, that was a COVID movie released on a streamer. But I am interested in the storylines here where Joe Kosinski, is he going to become one of those directors that is must see in a movie theater, right? We know he is so good at practical effects, and just visual effects in general. His sound design is amazing. Even going back to Tron Legacy, and then obviously Top Gun Maverick doesn't get nominated for like a best director, right? Very very stacked year. But he is someone that was extremely respected after that movie, and everyone was looking at what's his next project, what like will he do to kind of either match Top Gun Maverick or improve upon it or like continue his filmography in an upward trajectory. This is like a perfect this is a perfect way to kind of say this is what I'm good at, the practicality. I am a box office filmmaker. I want to be in that category of like a Christopher Nolan or a Denis Villeneuve. He's not there yet because he's only done Top Gun Maverick, and a lot of that is given to the credit of Tom Cruise and his like unflinching unflinching nerve to like go in a plane and fly it himself and kind of inspire the rest of that cast. Joe Kosinski is certainly involved with the filmmaking process there. I'm excited to see him working with yet another aging superstar. It seems like he has a pick of the litter right now. And to see like the fast pace and the editing of this trailer, the minimal dialogue, this is the Brad Pitt and Joseph Kosinski show.
Yeah, I think a few like last takeaways here. One to kind of pile up like this, the parallels between this and Top Gun Maverick, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, aging superstars in reality, and also in the movie, right? So he has experience with that, and to kind of bounce off of that, it's the same writer as Top Gun Maverick, so that's going to help as well. And finally, going back to your point with Kaczynski and the directing, like if you look at Top Gun Maverick, where was it nominated at the Oscars?
Yeah.
It won for best sound. This is a freaking racing movie. This sound. He's at least going to get a nomination just by winning at best sound for Top Gun Maverick. This movie will get at least a nomination at the Oscars for best sound. Best picture remains to be seen. Looks awesome though. Ford vs Ferrari got a best picture now. I think for a movie that of this size, $200 to $300 million Apple original, they put a lot of their stake in. And also coming off of Top Gun Maverick and the same people behind it, I think it gets a nomination out of 10. Visual effects it got nominated for, and film editing. So a lot of those I think are in play here looking at this trailer. And it's just exciting to see someone that has such a huge hit in Top Gun Maverick, even maybe a little low in Spiderhead, but you know what? Can come out with like just like a huge challenge with Apple, with this huge budget, and an F1 movie, which again, that fan base, very diverse, and just it looks like an absolute banger. And it's just incredibly impressive, this 90-second trailer.
Yeah, it's almost like he found his stride, like he found his identity, what he's meant to do, right, as a filmmaker, you know, and it's put us in those situations that we would only dream of, like in a plane, put us in the first person perspective or give us a zoom in on a guy's face, and then let's do it on a racetrack, you know, give us an experience that you can only experience in a Joseph Kosinski movie. And then as we wrap, Apple, dude, like the money they're throwing at movies and projects, directors and stars is kind of crazy right now. Like this summer, what we have Clooney and we have Pitt reuniting for a John Watts movie, Wolves. We also have Casey Affleck and Matt Damon, right? Boston, like a robbery type of film. And then we have, like, obviously they've already made movies with Ridley Scott and Martin Scorsese. Now they're going Joe Kosinski and Brad Pitt. They are looking to make moves right now. I just respect it, Ricky. I know you're into the streaming and the studio game.
All right, so just because you mentioned this, there's also someone we haven't mentioned who's on this project. Jerry Bruckheimer's on this project. Oh, so yeah. He's Mr. Blockbuster himself. So this movie, I just looked it up, confirmed because of strikes, this budget with also all the F1 expensive stuff, $300 million. And that's before advertising. So basically lock in a $400 million budget for this movie. And if you have Jerry Bruckheimer, Brad Pitt, and the guys behind Top Gun Maverick doing this push, I have faith they're going to make that back and then some.
June release. This is like the summer movie before the superhero movies hit. Before Superman, James Gunn's movie is in July, and this is late June. It's going to have a little bit of runway. I don't know if it's going to make $1 billion, right? Top Gun had a lot going for it, mainly being Tom Cruise and a very familiar character, and also like a mainstay in theaters. Who knows when Apple wants to put this on the streaming service, but I'm saying over $500 million easy for this movie. I think it makes its money back. I think this really was a relief for a lot of people that were nervous about what the product was going to look like. And then you get this, that's so all about the technicals of the movie. So good.
I think the only nervous thing will be domestically. Like, how well does it do domestically? Maybe it suffers a little bit. Let's say it goes under 300 million. But I think worldwide, this is going to do absolute numbers because of how popular
One.
F1 is. So I think it makes back its budget and then some. I like the $500 million call.